I still remember the exact words my father said to me that night. "You're not a real doctor, Sarah. Stop pretending. You're just a glorified nurse." He said it with that cold laugh, like my entire dream was some childish joke. I was standing in our living room, still in my scrubs, exhausted after a 14-hour shift, and those words cut deeper than any scalpel ever could. My eyes burned with tears, but I refused to let them fall in front of him. My name is Sarah Mitchell. For as long as I can remember, I wanted to heal people. While my father pushed me toward medical school and prestige, something in me always knew that being at the bedside, holding someone's hand through their worst moments, was where I truly belonged. I worked 2 jobs to put myself through nursing school. I graduated top of my class, and I landed a position in one of the best trauma centers in the city. But none of that mattered to my dad. To him, I had failed. Every family dinner became a battlefield. "When are you going to do something real with your life?" he would ask. My mother would stay quiet, and my younger brother would just look away. I smiled through it all, but inside, I was breaking. That particular evening, I had come home excited. I told him I had been assigned to the VIP wing, a special unit for high-profile patients. His response? "Great, so now you'll be fetching water for rich people. Congratulations." I went to bed that night with a heavy heart, wondering if maybe he was right. Maybe I had settled, maybe I wasn't enough. But what I didn't know was that everything was about to change, in the most unexpected way possible. The next morning started like any other. I walked into the hospital, coffee in hand, ready for another long shift. Then the announcement came over the intercom. "Code blue in progress. High-ranking military official incoming." The entire floor went into high alert. I had no idea that the patient they were rushing in would become the reason my father could never call me just a nurse again. The man they brought in was barely conscious. 4-star General Robert Harlan, a legend in military circles. He had suffered a severe complication during a routine procedure at another facility and was transferred to us in critical condition. His blood pressure was crashing, his heart rhythm unstable. I was the senior nurse on duty. While doctors barked orders, I stayed right by his side. I noticed something the initial team had missed, a subtle allergic reaction to one of the medications they had administered. His oxygen levels were dropping fast. I spoke up immediately, suggesting we switch protocols and administer a different stabilizer. The attending doctor hesitated for a second, but time was running out. He listened. For the next 6 hours, I didn't leave that man's bedside. I monitored every beep, every fluctuation. I held his hand when he briefly woke up in pain and whispered, "You're safe, General. We've got you." His grip tightened around my fingers like I was his only anchor. Meanwhile, my phone kept buzzing. My father. Another text. Still playing dress up as a hero? I silenced it. Those hours broke something inside me. Not in a bad way, in a freeing way. For the first time, I wasn't seeking my father's approval. I was fighting for a stranger's life with everything I had. And I realized how tired I was of shrinking myself to fit into his narrow definition of success. The betrayal wasn't just one comment. It was years of him dismissing my passion, making me feel small, making me question my worth. Every time I achieved something, a promotion, a patient's grateful letter, even saving a child's life the month before, he found a way to diminish it. "Anyone can be a nurse," he'd say. That night, as I sat beside General Harlan's bed, watching his vitals finally stabilize, tears rolled down my cheeks. Not because I was sad, but because I was angry. Angry at myself for letting my father's words live in my head for so long. By morning, the general was awake and stable. The doctors called it a textbook recovery, but they all knew it was my quick thinking and relentless monitoring that turned the tide. Word started spreading across the hospital, but I had no idea the real moment was still coming. My father somehow found out a high-profile patient had been admitted. He called me again, this time demanding details. "Make sure you don't embarrass the family name," he warned. That was the last straw. I told him not to call me again during my shift. Little did he know, he would soon witness the moment that would silence him forever. 2 days later, General Harlan was well enough to sit up. He asked to speak with the nurse who stayed with me. When I walked into the room, he looked at me with clear, grateful eyes. "You saved my life, young lady," he said, his voice still rough but strong. "Not just your hands, your courage. You spoke up when others hesitated. That's rare." Before I could respond, he reached for my hand. This decorated 4-star general, a man who had served his country for over 40 years, gently lifted my hand and kissed the back of it with deep respect. I owe you more than I can ever repay. Thank you, Captain Mitchell, he said, using a military-style title for me in that moment. Cameras were rolling. His aide had been recording the moment for his family. The flash of phones from hospital staff lit up the room. I stood there stunned, tears blurring my vision. Later that evening, the video was already circulating in military and medical circles. My phone exploded with messages. Colleagues congratulated me. Old classmates reached out. And then, my father called. I answered. He had seen the video. His voice was quieter than I had ever heard it. Sarah, that was you? Yes, Dad, that was me, the glorified nurse. There was a long silence. For once, he had no clever comeback, no dismissal. He tried to speak, but only managed. I didn't know. That was the moment, not loud screaming or dramatic revenge, just quiet, undeniable truth. The man who had spent years tearing down my dreams watched as one of the most respected figures in the country publicly honored me. I didn't need to say, I told you so. The kiss on my hand said it louder than any words ever could. Today, my relationship with my father is different. He's more careful with his words. He's even asked about my work a few times. Healing takes time, but I've made peace with the girl who once believed she wasn't enough. To anyone watching this who feels belittled, underestimated, or told that your dream is too small, keep going. Your moment will come. Sometimes the greatest revenge isn't destroying someone else. It's becoming undeniable in who you are. Your worth was never up for debate. And the right people, the ones who truly matter and will see it, they'll kiss your hand in respect, while those who doubted you are left speechless. Thank you for listening to my story. If you've ever been called just anything, drop a comment below. You are so much more